I kind of mentioned it during the summer programming of VM where we were doing some divisional breakdowns and whatnot, and even on the preview show, but it kind of came to fruition earlier this week with some of the national pundits with the NFL, and it has to do with Lamar Jackson. So I feel like Lamar Jackson might be the most polarizing NFL player, and the more I think of it, he might be the only professional athlete in this country, like American sports. I can't comment on Europe and some of these soccer players. For as much as I know soccer, I don't know what the mainstream media in France feels about Neymar or how Manchester feels about Ronaldo. But I don't think there's an athlete in professional American sports that the goalposts move more than Lamar Jackson. It's always some new shit with him that we nitpick and we critique. It started off with him being a running back or should have been a running back or play receiver, to him not being able to throw, to him not being able to win, to him not being able to make the playoffs. Then he gets to the playoffs, and then he wins MVP. And it's a funny saying that my friends and I have whenever we'll play like Call of Duty or some shit, and like one of us goes like, 18-10 kill death ratio, and we're like, yeah, it's never good enough, right? And that's how I feel it is for Lamar Jackson. It's always something with him, and it's just no matter how well he does, it's not good enough. Dude is 38-12 as a starter. He's won MVP. Every year that he's been healthy and he's played, they make the playoffs. Last year, they were the top seed in the loaded AFC. Then he gets hurt, and they end the year on a losing streak, so they don't make the playoffs last year. And he's done all of this with below-average weapons outside of one elite player at tight end, Mark Andrews. Everything else is kind of mid. It's kind of mediocre. There's not much there where you feel confident starting him in your fantasy league other than Lamar Jackson or Mark Andrews. And everyone that listens to this show knows how I feel about Justin Herbert and how I feel about Josh Allen. And Lamar is way more accomplished than these guys are. Lamar's won MVP. He's 38-12 as a starter, better record than all of those guys. And the reason why I'm mentioning them and Pat Mahomes and Kyler Murray, who got the bag in the offseason too, is Lamar hasn't signed this contract yet. They're playing these games with him in Baltimore. And I love it as someone that's financially invested on the Ravens to win the AFC and have some Super Bowl stuff with them. I love betting on a guy who's betting on himself. And this happened with the Ravens many years ago. Joe Flacco went into his final season as a rookie and he won the Super Bowl. And I think with Lamar, it's just crazy that we're already crowning Josh Allen as, they're the Super Bowl favorite and he's the best quarterback in the league. We're crowning, rightfully so, Pat Mahomes, right? He might not fit this mold because he's already been accomplished. But Justin Herbert hasn't won a big game in his career yet. And we're coining him the next one up. And everyone was talking about Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes having these monster games in week one. It's like Lamar threw multiple touchdowns too, and his team won comfortably. All those other teams, with the exception of the Chiefs, were kind of in nail biters until Buffalo blew them out in the second half. It's just weird to me. It's weird to me with Lamar, how the narrative changes around him depending on like how people are feeling that day. And it makes no sense. And to me, Lamar Jackson should be paid with his peers that he's grouped with. And I also think that this Lamar Jackson FU run that he's going to go on now the rest of the year for as long as he's healthy, they play Miami this week. I think they dominate Miami. I think Miami's coming off a big win against a team that's a division rival. Now I think it could be a little bit of a letdown. They showcase all those new weapons. Lamar's going to be at home. They're a 3-point favorite right now against Miami. I think that line is wrong. I think Baltimore should be a bigger favorite. And I think the Ravens are going to compete to be the top seed in the AFC once again. And the longer these contract issues go down in Baltimore, I think it's only going to be better for Ravens fans and for people invested in Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we do want him to get paid for job security purposes. And nowadays, the quarterback is making north of like $250 million guaranteed in some cases. And it's always going to be something with Lamar Jackson that is going to be a polarizing topic, whether or not you pay him or not. But if we just listed off all his accomplishments, it's wild that this is even an issue whatsoever. The last thing that I do want to mention as far as the NFL goes before we segue into a conversation that I had with my jiu-jitsu coach, Hugh McKenna, back home is target teams that lost bad in week 1 this week, right? Massive overreactions from week 1 to week 2. And there are a couple of teams that lost bad in week 1 that are playing teams that won in week 1 and surprised people, right? Perfect example. I've already bet the Packers minus 9.5. That line is up to 11. They're coming off an embarrassing loss in division to the Vikings. Now they're coming home, playing the Bears prime time. Chicago had a monster win. No one thought they were going to win that game. They were a 3-1 dog against San Francisco. Now they're going to play Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers in Wisconsin, in Green Bay. Green Bay can't afford to go 0-2 to start the year, but also, more importantly, 0-2 in division. I think Green Bay beats them by 20 or more points. I might even dabble in the alternate spread, but those are kind of some of the scenarios and spots that I like targeting, especially early on in the year when you have those massive overreactions from week 1 to week 2. You'll be able to hear a lot of the extra betting stuff on the Patreon. That'll be up Friday before you submit your picks for week 1 and all the other stuff. Thank you for supporting Veterans Minimum. VeteransMinimum.com is where you can find everything. And what you're going to hear now is my chat with my jiu-jitsu coach, Hugh McKenna. He's a professional fighter. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's the guy that gave me my blue belt in jiu-jitsu. And this was a conversation that we had back home before I ended up moving out to Vegas. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you enjoy week 2. And we will catch you guys next time.